girls 5,000-meter championship. And this should be extremely competitive, extremely exciting. We got a couple of the really big names that coming that we'll introduce as we move through the field. Lillian DeCola, our first runner from Pennsylvania Junior. Brenna Jorday from IMG Academy, just a sophomore. Anna Furman from Tri-Valley. She is just a freshman. Kira Rogan from New York. She looks all business. She's a senior. Lucia Rodbro. I don't know what she's doing there with that T, but oh, Taiwanda. Kylene Brady from New York, a sophomore. Rory Sullivan from Saints Track Club. Kini Beha, or I guess she's not here. Gabrielle Thierry from JP McCaskey, a senior. Hannah Kirsten, a senior. Abigail Anstedt, a freshman. Kiera Lohman from Virginia, also a sophomore. Big field, 25 in the field. Chelsea Hartman from Shadyside Academy. A Texan, Catherine Kuntz, a senior. Lauren Stein of Maryland, the next one to be introduced. She's a junior. Love the smiles for all these young ladies. Lily Strebel from New York, also a junior, not a general, junior. Logan Kuhn from Elm Avenue, a sophomore. That's a cross-country team we are well familiar with. Molly Weithman from O'Connell Track Club, senior. Morgan Boonshaft, a senior from Murdoch Racing. Somebody that should have an effect on this field, Zoe Carter, junior from Illinois. Sarah Lawson, a senior from Corning Track Club. Caroline Trebet, a junior from Cardinal Track Club. Sadie Adams from Formula, junior. And the next three are big-time athletes. Addison Noblaw, a senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana. She's a 10-12-69 3,200-meter runner. Second in a cross-country regional in 2021. Abby Faith Cheeseman. She's the meet record holder for 2 miles at this event, at the New Balance Nationals of 10:02:08. From the Webb School, Maggie Gardner, another stud, a senior from Charlottesville, Virginia. She's run 16:17:32 for 5K, and she was 6th at the USATF Under 20 Championships a year ago. So really expecting to see Noblaw, Cheeseman, Gardner at the front of this race, Carrie Tollefson.
Yeah, and we have a couple teammates. Maddie Gardner will have her teammate in there, Sadie Adams, which is always fun. But yeah, I think we have a real good race in store here. There's a lot of athletes that we've seen before at some of the New Balance indoors and outdoor nationals, and they always love coming back.
And again, a lot of these athletes are positions. There's a 2-mile here. There's a 5,000 here. There's a 4 by mile. There's a 4 by 8. There's a lot of races. So the talent is spread around. The national talent is spread around. But it's going to be a delightful situation for us, I believe, on Saturday when we get Allie Zealand versus Sadie Engelhart in the mile. And you've got the 2-mile, recently crowned 2-mile national record holder going up against a woman that has simply dominated the mile for the last 3 years. And that's going to be a very special race. So
Oh,
we are on our way. Big field, as I mentioned, 25 runners.
oh,
We had a
somebody
little
went down, it
disruption
looks
there at the
like.
start. Yeah, yep.
Oh.
And that's what can happen when you have 25 runners.
It's really hard too when you go down like that, and you have to try to regroup, get yourself back. And if she can get in the race again, it would be really nice. She looks like she's holding her arm.
Yeah, that's
I
Abigail
believe.
Anstedt. She's a
Yeah.
ninth grader. Yeah, from Cub Athletics.
Give her a second. Give everyone else a second to kind of relax, get their breath back. It's always a big adrenaline rush when something like this happens.
I love the fact that there are opportunities, shall we say, for um, runners to compete at a national championship meet. But sometimes it can be the enter standards probably could be a little bit tighter, and so you don't have some of these calamities that you have in races like this. Because 23, and it was originally supposed to be 25, can be a lot of runners. And again, to your point, it's a 5,000. Everybody should chill at the start. But easier said than done. And so we'll regroup.
So much.
And
I mean, I can remember going all the way over to Japan for the World Cross Country Championships, and in the first 300 meters, I fell. And if it weren't for my coach who had traveled over there that yelled at me, I mean, I got stepped on by my best friend who was competing for Canada. I got spiked in the back. But if I didn't have that wake up call from my coach, I wouldn't have probably gotten up as fast. But, you know, it looks like she's going to maybe see medical and not run this race, and we wish her the best. But this is, again, part of the experience, Tom. This happens in life and in these races.
that is so well put, Carrie. I mean, look, it's a rough and tumble world out there when you get into the European circuit in running, and even look at some of these tactical NCAA races. You have got to learn how to run in a pack like this, and you have to learn how to strategically place yourself. And that's my biggest argument against having so many of these young athletes running for time, because the most important thing is championships, and the most important thing to win a championship is know how to run in a pack, know how to win in a tactical race, not chase times. The average John Q. public doesn't understand a time, but an average John Q. public does understand when you say, I was first, or I was second, or I was third.
Yep. It is true.
So we're back on it under evening sky here at one of the most historic venues in all of America, Franklin Field, and great job done by the New Balance people. Cooper Knowlton among those that put on a very, very fine meet. No matter what they do, this group, this Trials of Miles group, they're on time, and I love that. There are no delays. They are on it. And that's the mark of a very, very good meet management system.
Well, the girl that was now just in about third position there on the inside rail in the purple top, that was Sarah Lawson. She's a Syracuse commit, but she ran New Balance indoors in 2024. She ran the 5,000 and placed third there. And then she was sixth in 2023. So she loves running the New Balance indoor and outdoor national. She was actually here last year, and she was seventh in this race in the 5,000 and 11th in 2023. So just lots of racing at New Balance for her, for Sarah Lawson.
It's a very honest pace. That first 236.5. And Maddie Gardner, no surprise. Abby Faith Cheeseman, no surprise. Addison Knoblaw, no surprise. They're all in that lead pack. And just to kind of give you, so Abby Faith Cheeseman ran the 2 mile here last year and won it and set a meet record in 10:02:08. She was first. She's won 8 Tennessee State championships in high school. 8. She was first in the New Balance indoors this year in the 5,000. She's 10th on the high school list this year for 3,000 at 10:31:36. She was first in the New Balance Nationals 2 miles we know last year. That's where she set the meet record. But her Tennessee titles have come in the 800, the 1,600, and the 3,200. She did that 2 years in a row. And then In 2021, she was the 3,200 champ, and in 2022, the 1,600 champ. She's got wheels. She's a 4:42.24 1,600-meter champion. The scary thing is she's won 8 state titles, and she's still only a junior.
And on top of all that running, she told me that she likes to cook. She loves playing the violin. She sings, she writes, and she reads. Like, she does it all.
She sure does. So that's Abby Faith Cheeseman in the yellow who we're talking about. Meanwhile, Addison Knoblaw, the taller young lady there in the red, Addison, senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana. She's a terrific cross-country runner, 5th at the Foot Locker Championships last fall. She is a 16:58.04 5,000 runner, 10:12.69 for 3,200 meters, which she did last year, the young lady in 3rd. And our leader, Maddie Gardner, well, she's run 16:17.32 for 5K. She's the fastest pure 5K runner here in the field. She was 6th in the USATF under 25,000 last year. And also a good cross-country runner. She was 5th carry last fall in the USATF under 20 cross-country championships, which would earn her a spot to the World Under 20 cross-country championships.
Yeah, she's very good. She also ran Foot Locker, as you just mentioned. So 1st and 3rd, well, all 3 of these ladies have been at Foot Locker. So kind of fun that they have been able to meet each other at different national meets and now coming back together again here on the track, meeting at New Balance.
So they've settled into a groove here, about 77 seconds for 400. The meet record is 16:37.73. There's an outstanding chance that they're going to blast that, even though it's 78 degrees out. And that was set by Hannah Ray Schaefer, who we saw in the previous race in the 4x-mile. Ran a very nice leg for the team from North Carolina. So Hannah Ray Schaefer opting to go for that 4x-mile route. But these 3, as we expected, have just simply pulled away. And of these 3, Carrie, how do you break it down? Which one do you think has the moxie to pull this race off?
Well, I think that they all have such similar statistics, next to their names. I mean, they're great cross-country runners. They're all really good indoors and outdoors. I think right now it's to see who has enough stamina. It's been a long year. They've all been racing a lot. They travel a lot. So that's what I think is a factor tonight.
Okay, well, we'll have to certainly see how this plays out. They're slowed that last lap down to about a 78.9. That first 1,000, by the way, 3:13.26. So again, we are hot on a 15:40 pace. And this is only the 3rd year of this Nationals, but that would lower the meet record by about a minute. So we know they're cooking pretty fast. And now the diminutive Abby Faith Cheeseman takes up the running.
Well, as you kind of gave some of Abby's stats, she has some pretty good wheels over 800 meters, but it seems like she just gets better as it goes up. They're not running 10,000 meters at this age, which I'm happy about. But I just oftentimes wonder who's going to be our next 5,000 meter, 10,000 meter, maybe even marathoner. I mean, we look at so many of the greats. Molly Seidel, for instance, we watched her race when she was younger, and then now she just moved on up. She's got a medal from the marathon. So it's just kind of cool to see these athletes, get to know them at this young age, and then follow them through their NCAA career. And then if they decide to go on and be pros, it's fun to say, I remember when,
Oh, most definitely. And there's definitely a break here. Gardner is falling off, and Faith Cheeseman and Knoblaw have picked up the tempo. It's interesting you mentioned the 10,000. I'm surprised no enterprising meet promoter has put together a high school 10,000 for the boys because Rudy Chapman, Eric Holst are still number 1 and 2 on the all-time high school 10,000 list, and that's from 1976. So those top 2 times from 1976 in the Super Shoe era, I'm surprised that 48 years later we haven't seen some enterprising meet director say, you know what, I want my meet to be in the high school record books, and I'm going to put it for
Yep.
10,000 together. Abby Faith Cheeseman's starting to get a little separation here from Addison Knoblaw as well.
She definitely is. She's starting to push a little bit, although she did slow on that lap. She went from a 78 to a 79. But right there is where they want to be in order to break that record. You know, if they lock in at 80-second pace per 400, that's right around 1640. So they need to be a little bit under 80 seconds each lap.
Yeah, so it's been 79, 78, 77, 78, 79, 79. And behind Abby Faith Cheeseman is Knoblaw, Maddie Gardner, Morgan Boonshaft, Zoe Carter, Carolyn Trebet, Molly Weithman, Chelsea Hartman, and Sadie Adams. And 5.5 laps to go, and just very nice turnover being exhibited by Abby Faith Cheeseman here from Tennessee.
She's got about a 2 or 3 second advantage. Knobloch in second place.
Well, Abby Faith Cheeseman has just been so consistent over the years. You know, she went to nationals in San Diego last fall or early winter, and that was her 3rd time there. You know, she can be one of those very few to have a 4-time out to San Diego at Foot Locker, and so it's kind of fun to see that she's been so consistent. You know, her brother raced. She's in this family that loves to run, but they also just love to have fun as well. So she's got a real healthy attitude when it comes to racing and running and just being there with her friends and having fun while she's doing it all.
And she is the meet record holder for 2 miles here at the New Balance Nationals. I think she has firmly got set in her mind that she wants to put her name in the record books for the 5,000, and she is just completely well on her way to doing so. 3,000 meters in 9:49, and that puts her pace now at
3K she was at 9:49.
Yeah, just under 16:27,
Yeah.
about under 16:30.
Thank you for filling in that gap.
She is on meet record pace, and right now she is all alone. This is really hard. These are those hard laps anyway, but to know that you've got to keep on it, keep the pressure on, keep the gas pedal down. You know, she loves feeling, I'm sure, the fact that she knows she's gaining some distance, though. She takes a look back. If she does, she can see that they're losing ground.
Yeah, it is. It might be a little tight, though, having to run by herself. The meet record, again, 16:37. And she is, I have her down for about 16:20 pace. But the laps are getting slower. Maddie Gardner, 5.5 seconds back. She's past Knoblaw. And then in the purple, back and forth, that's Morgan Boonshaft.
1,400 meters left.
Morgan Boonshaft was
Abby
6th
Faith
indoors at the Morgan Boonshaft was 6th indoors at New Balance Indoors this last year, so just in 2024. She's going to Brown next year.
That's a
Cheeseman, the junior from
fine Ivy League school.
maintaining her lead for the best 25 meters over Maddie Gardner and Addison Knobloch.
So we're going to be coming up here now, 3 laps to go.
Fourth place.
So with 1,200 to go, 12:34 and change.
To go now for our leader.
So I'm going to try to do some math, which I'm not very good at. Let's see if she can run 4. So if she averages 80 seconds, Carrie, she would be 16:34, which would be 3 seconds under the meet record. Her last couple laps have been 81 and 83, but that is not
Yeah.
taking into consideration that she'll probably put a kick together. And so I'm guessing she should be able to do this. Is that your feeling as well?
I think she looks good. I mean, I think she's going to really have to hone in now and try not to sit. Try not to just get complacent and forget what the task is at hand if she is thinking about the record. I'm sure she's trying to hear, but they've got music pumping and they've got people cheering for her. So right now is where she really has to focus in, and she's got to get it going because she's so close.
I could tell that she upped her tempo a little bit on that last backstretch. She was really going to her arms a little bit more. She's got 2 laps to go now. And let's see what she did in that last stanza. Meanwhile, a very good battle for second. So that was an 82, so a slight improvement. So now 13:56. She's going to have to go 2:47, I think. Yeah, so she's going to have to go 1:23.5 per lap, which she should be able to do. Knoblaw in second, Boonshaft in third, and taking aim on second. Gardner in fourth. And Abby Faith Cheeseman, just an 11th grader with 8 state titles on her resume, and a New Balance outdoor championship and record at 2 miles, will soon be coming up to take the final lap. And Morgan Boonshaft has moved into second ahead of Addison Knoblaw. Maddie Gardner in fourth. Abby Faith Cheeseman lapping a slower runner here. She's putting her head down. She's going to be coming up to 1 lap to go. Let's see what she's got with a lap to go so we can calculate what she needs to take down Hannah Ray Schaefer's meet record. And she's coming up to the bell right now at about 15:19. So she's got to run a 78-second lap. She just ran a 83-second lap. So this might be taxing, Carrie.
I think it's the last lap was hard for her. She tried to get it going again. You could see she was working hard, but actually those girls in second and third are starting to close in on her.
Yes, and amazingly enough, Knoblaw has found another gear. After Boonshaft passed her, Knoblaw coming up now. And Addison Knoblaw from Fort Wayne, Indiana, the senior, I think she sees Roadkill potentially ahead of her here.
She definitely is. She ran an 80-second last lap, and now she's closing in hard. She only has 200 meters to go.
200 to go. I wonder if Abby Faith Cheeseman knows what's coming up behind her. And also
Boonshaft is coming too.
Yes, yeah. So I think Abby's going to the arms now. This one is a lot more of a nail biter than one would have thought a lap or so ago. And I'm not sure that she can respond to Abby Faith Cheeseman. Here goes Knoblaw, and Knoblaw takes an unbelievable victory here after being so far behind. And she's going to break the tape in 16:42.90, a 77.8 last lap. And that was a weird race. Abby Faith Cheeseman was 6 seconds ahead of Addison Knoblaw with a lap to go. 6 seconds ahead, and she's an experienced runner and ends up losing not only second, but moves down to third place as Morgan Boonshaft closes in 69.7 to run 16:45.34.
Well, you got to give it up. Abby Faith Cheeseman went for it hard. She took it out there. She was all alone. But when Boonshaft kind of caught up to Knoblaw, that really woke her up too. And so those two worked super hard to close in on Cheeseman. And Cheeseman just kind of wore herself out, I think, in those you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, when she really started to move after those laps, that's where she started to drop those splits down, and then we started to see it slow just a little bit. But she's had a wonderful junior year again. We're going to get to see her hopefully next year, but give it up to Nabla. She had a great race.
I'll say. And you know, Noblaw, a lifetime best, by the way, by 16 seconds. But Abby Faith Cheeseman, she's a Faith Cheeseman, excuse me, 16, 1982, 5,000 runners. She's experienced. She should not necessarily have been surprised by what happened there at the end.
It's a warm
so that
night,
was
you
that-
know, it's starting to
It is
cool
a warm
down, but
night.
it's still upper 70s. And, you know, sometimes when your heart rate goes up like that, it's really
All right, folks, that
And you can
concludes
see
the
here,
turn here.
on day one of
really
UMass
kicking in
Madison
strong, isn't she?
Cowboys here at beautiful Franklin.
she goes out to lane 3 to win this race. Lane 3 at the end of a 5,000.
Going next. Fuel up. You got 3 more days of packed action.
Lots of smiles there. She should be really excited about that. She has run at different races. She's going to Notre Dame next year, but she is now a national champion, and she has to be excited about that.
Well, I will say this, Carrie, that the most impressive performance I saw in our time together was the 4:41 anchor leg by Rachel Forsyth, running just all alone for the Purple Track Club from Ann Arbor, Michigan. That was just such an impressive performance. Can't